Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Rocket League Dojo. I'm LeafX, and we like to talk about mechanics and mentalities here, trying to make you guys the best of the best, get you guys to the top level. Every week we have a different topic where we go over, well, as I said, mechanics and mentalities, and we try to pinpoint the things that make those pros the pros. Last week we ended up talking about branding. Every once in a while we like to do a visual episode. This one was kind of sporadic. And we ended up trying to decide that we're going to test out the branding by rebranding someone. We'll get to that in just a minute. So please go back and watch the branding episode. We had Sarah and Lawler on. They were absolutely fantastic, giving you guys really good information on how to really look at your brand properly, sit down and try to figure out what you should be putting behind it. But this happens every week, Tuesday, 5:30 Eastern time, so make sure you guys are here every single time. Tibor in the chat saying it's effort watching this. I have to get up and dance while waiting. Of course you do, man. We want to get those calories burnt. Thank you, Tibor, for tuning in. And everyone else is tuning in. We will be paying attention to your chat, so please, questions throughout the entire show. This is a visual representation of our branding. This is episode 12.5, 12 and a half, the half episode. So with that, let's get to some visuals here. We're going to take a look at who our guest is, and that, of course, is Kovanel. How you doing?
Hello.
Howdy. So this is an interesting episode. We kind of jumped on this as a chance to test something out. Unfortunately, we couldn't have Kronovi with us, but I think I've already confirmed we will have him next week, so make sure you guys are tuning for that. But we've got a better deal out of it. We get Kovanel. So let's learn a little bit about Kovanel before we get into exactly what we're talking about this time. Kovanel, a fellow Canadian. I love to see that representing the West Coast, though. I'm over on the East Coast. And, of course, well, I mean, to me, a young player, but you're considered old. The older spectrum of Rocket League right now, aren't you?
That seems weird to me, but
I know, right? So currently, they're on the NA side of Leaf Esports, and that's, of course, from the roster I know currently was Double, Husky, and Kovanel. Not sure if any of that's going to change coming into RLCS Season 3 that just got announced. I got to ask you, how stoked are you?
I've been waiting a long time. Leave it at that. I'm really hyped.
I've known about things for so long, and I'm glad I can finally talk about them now. I'm so excited. One of the biggest, coolest things, and we saw, of course, Tibor actually in here. We have OC ready into this. My question to you, and I just want to give a shout out right now. Do you think any of those OC guys stand a chance against NAU?
Well, I've only seen them play on NA servers with 250 ping. Like, I haven't really watched any OCE tournaments, but I'm sure there's, like, several good players over there, even if they don't have much competition.
I'm looking at about three probable teams that might be able to compete. It's going to be weird because I don't think they've had the chance to really play against EU that much, and I feel like EU is going to be a little bit of an awakening because according to EU, NA's pretty slacking, so we'll see. Honestly, there's a few good teams. Actually, one of them I was about to mention, Kronovi's actually in chat. The lineup they've been using recently looking pretty solid. Of course, we have NRG. Hopefully they can pull it together for Season 3. That's a solid lineup. But either way, Season 3 hype, incredible. Well, hopefully we'll get to see your team in those group stages. Now let's get to know you just a little bit more here as the chat just goes hype over their OC, a couple OC guys chilling out in here. You love strategy. You love just anything that has to do with strats. I mean, you're saying Pokemon battling, chess, Sudoku. That just seems your thing.
Yeah. I've always loved strategy since I was like in first grade. I've always enjoyed doing like strategy related games, mainly chess, and then I just do Sudoku from time to time. I play Pokemon battles. I find those quite fun, even though there's a ton of RNG.
True. But it's still there's still a lot of strategy involved. And now, you've also taught before and tutored for different things. Do you think like your love for strategy and figuring things out helped drive your wanting to teach people, or was that just kind of something you did?
It was probably part of it. I also just really enjoy helping people improve at things they're bad at. Like I just have hundreds of hours of tutoring experience, most of it volunteer, some of it paid. I like paid work.
And you were apparently good at the things you tutored. You got a lot of hundo P's on your math T's there. A lot of math tests got aced by the Kovanel.
Yeah, I averaged over 95% in my math courses, so the school basically asked me to tutor kids, which I was glad to do.
That's awesome. No, that's really cool. Because it gives you another outlet. You get that chance to teach, and that's a whole new skill set to learn on itself. So it's another avenue opened up. And you also like to play soccer, or as you would say, football in real life, not just in a video game.
Well, I had to stop playing due to injuries, but yeah, I really enjoyed playing. I played for about 5 years.
That's awesome, but it sucks that you got injured. But at least we have video game soccer, right?
Unfortunately, it was a injury to my brain. I've had several concussions. So.
Oh no, dude! Yeah, I've had a few of those. They're no joke, that's for sure. Well, at least, I guess you need your head for everything, but at least it wasn't like a broken hand, so you couldn't play Rocket League. Because that's what you're into now, and that's actually what we're going to talk about here. Last week we talked about branding. We talked about the things that you need, and I kind of want to just reiterate on that, because today, Kovanel has actually decided, it's actually been an ongoing thing. We've been talking for about a week and a half or so now, maybe a bit longer, but about rebranding. Kovanel's like, hey, I want to sit down and I want to create a clean slate. And this is a really tricky thing to do. There's one thing to brand, but another thing to rebrand, because there's people out there that have a connection to probably your brand. So Kovanel and I have sat down, we've gone through exercises, and we're going to walk you guys through the things we've done to try to really pinpoint what he wants, and how other people are going to react to it. And we want your reactions, actually. There are a few things that we have, a few names that we've, and ideas, words that have been tossed around. And one of the best things, one of the steps that Sarah mentioned last week is asking people for input. So chat, we really want to hear what you guys have to say about some of the things that they're going to be brought up here. So with that, let's kind of recap on last week. So on the screen, you can see 4 main topics that Sarah had brought up about branding. Just general things, not specific to one person or a specific company or anything. This is general things that you want to have a personality behind the brand. And these are the things how to do it. Number 1 is be unique. You want to have something that no one else has. I look at the brand, like the name Turtle, and instantly I think there are 3 turtles in OCE alone, and it's insane. Like it works for Turtle because he's at the top right now, but it could get confusing if any of those other players want to get up. I mean, it kind of sucks for them. They might have to change their name because that brand is now to him. So if someone already has your brand, it's really hard to jump in and do it. If you wanted to take the name Kovanel and you're playing Rocket League, that's going to be very difficult. Because Kovanel already has that name for now. And so it's you got to have something that's unique. So to do that, we kind of stepped back and we actually did a brainstorming session on finding words that were unique, just like unique to yourself. You go through the process of brainstorming. So I'm going to try to pull that picture up in a second after we go over the next few steps. So evoke emotion. You want something that pulls an emotion out of someone instantly. I actually want to ask Kovanel, where did Kovanel come from?
Oh, okay. It's a pretty stupid story. So
perfect.
I liked Calvin and Hobbes when I was younger. So
okay.
What I did was I took the word Calvin and I spelt it backwards, which is like nil back or something, and then I swapped some letters around, and then I reversed it again, and then I did that process a few times, and it eventually ended up at Kovanel.
Well, that's a really intricate way to pull out a name. Honestly, that's creative, and I kind of like that. That's unique. That's really cool. I might try that a few times on a few other names, but that's where we got Kovanel. So you already had the unique part. The emotion part for you was there. You know what it's connected to, your childhood readings of Calvin and Hobbes, but for other people maybe not so much, and you have to now push that emotion forward with either your personality or the visual branding that you have. The next one, be consistent. If I could spell that right on the screen, consistent. Consistent is an important thing. Once you pick a name, you have to stick with it. You can't be jumping around. If we decide on this session here, and this is why it's so important to just finalize it, have it, but you want to spend a lot of time on it, and that's why it's already been like a week and a half. I mean, I think you've been thinking about it longer than that, but since we've been doing stuff, how long ago did you want to do the rebrand?
I was just on the fence about it for a very long time now. Like, I just haven't done it because I haven't like felt like it really, but I don't know how long, maybe since before I started speed running, which was like 2 years ago.
So it's been a while.
Yeah, I've just been kind of thinking about it, but then too lazy to do it.
So the next thing is to be memorable. It's like in the chat, AutoCAD, I'm also a fan of spelling things backwards. Dakota, that makes a lot of sense. Never really thought of that before.
My boy.
That's awesome. But be memorable, and that's the next one. Is as overall, you want something that's not going to get mixed into everything. And a lot of that will actually have to do with your personality, your actions, and the content that you put out, which we'll talk about also in a second. So here's our 4 steps, the 4 things you just want to keep in mind when you're doing this. So we went through some exercises, Kovanel, that actually seemed really fun just for anyone to do, and I recommend this. But the first one, and Sarah actually got us to do this for all our brainstorming, so credits to her, was creating a word cloud brainstorming. And I'll pull it up on the screen in a second. But basically, you pick the thing. So Kovanel, what we had RL Pro Player in the middle, right?
Yeah, we started from RL Pro Player, which is like the core of my brand, and then I just thought of random words.
Yeah, so
it reminded me of.
From there on out, you can have even sub bubbles. So what are the core things that makes a Rocket League player pro? Well, Rocket League, competitiveness, and professionalism. You can have those as sub bubbles, and then you start to think of words off of those. So I'm going to pull that up in a second here, but explain what were your first thoughts when I first told you to do this?
All I thought was the stupid group projects you had to do in 9th grade. I don't know. I hated them in 9th grade, but this one was pretty good.
So what were your thoughts afterwards when we were done? You're because I remember you kind of seemed surprised.
Yeah, I think I should do this more often when I'm thinking of other things. It's a good way to throw random thoughts somewhere, to organize them instead of just what's the word? Just putting it off, I guess.
This picture is super tiny and sideways, but you can kind of see in the middle here we have RL Pro Player, and then off of it were these bubbles. So we had Grand Champ over here, and then off of Grand Champ, he had a bunch of different things. Purple, it's literally anything that relates to that is, and it's what you want to do. And what you start doing is you're realizing you have a lot more words at your vocabulary that you maybe not have been thinking about. And it's just to get your brain exercising. You're starting to create neural connections from this word over here to this word over here. And what that does is it creates new pathways that you'll be able to start thinking outside the box all the time. This is why options coverage is going to be a great topic to talk about, because what you're trying to do is really create as many possibilities for yourself as you can and start thinking outside the box in different ways. So with this, we did one on RL Pro Player, and then he did another one on himself where he took his core values, what he's about, what he wants to do. And he actually put together a nice little thing here for himself, what he is and what he wants to do. So we did these exercises and we got down Pokemon Explained. So we got down to the core of who he was and what he wanted this brand to be. What was that, over a course of a couple days?
Well, I watched your branding video last week, and that was like the tipping point. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna go with it, see what happens. And yeah, since then I've been thinking about it.
And the hardest part about it is some people have a bit of, nostalgia tied to their names, or other people have that nostalgia tied to their names. And this is why it was brought up. Both Waller and Sarah mentioned it, but it's very important to do things at the beginning. There is time right now. So, you have to attack it at the beginning. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck with something that you don't want. Right now, Rocket League is super fresh. We're just going into Season 3. Everyone really knows who each other is, but you're going to see a lot of newcomers. I guarantee it, in the next season. There are a lot of people that have been around and playing since the beginning, but you don't know their names. Kovanel hasn't been on the big stage, so there may not be as many people. A lot of people know the name Kovanel, but this is a good time to change it because as much as he knows the name and we know the name, there are still people out there that don't. So their first impression can be this new brand. And this is why it's important we do it at the beginning. So if we go back to this thing he gave us, I'm just going to read it out here. The things that you've said, you just kind of put words together. So you really want to jump into YouTube content. Can you actually just explain that for us, what you're planning on doing with the YouTube content?
Yeah, so I wanted to make a guide on a topic people haven't covered, which is more so decision making and critical thinking rather than being good at fast aerials or double touches and stuff. So that's one thing I wanted to do. And then on top of that, I wanted to have a consistent schedule to follow, which would be replay analysis, where I analyze a replay, make some notes, and then I stream commentary of that after making my notes and stuff, just so it's nice, clean analysis on the play. And then just playing games and commentating them as well, just so I have consistent content that's always being put up.
That's awesome. And honestly, the way I was showing Kovanel some GIFs before, and he just started explaining things and talking about things, just looking at them, not telling me what I'm doing wrong. He just started looking at these things, saying, oh, you know what, this was a good situation, this is a bad situation, something could have happened here, oh, that's cool how that happened there. It was just like him talking about the video. I thought it was really unique. It was relaxing, and it was enjoyable to hear him go over this stuff and just hear his perspective on it. And so that was something I think that you took in. True, you already knew, and that's why you have these things at the top. You have deliberate, careful, purposed, observant, watchful, aware, informed, sharp, solid, sure. So you just have a very objectional but relaxed look on things. And I think that's something you said once, is you like to keep things very objective. Yep.
100% objective. Even my own opinion is just another opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good take on it, to really scientifically break down why things should be a certain way, instead of just saying, well, I think this. People in the chat, Chronoi sounds different. Is this fake? Oh, Kovanel. Yeah, yes. Easy Kovanel. We found your new name.
It's not unique at all. Come on.
Unfortunately, Phil, we just had a bit of a mishap with timing, and we will have Kronovi next week. He had to get groceries. I hope he brought me some. But we'll have Kronovi next week talking about movement. But this week we're really getting into rebranding instead of just branding that we talked about last week, because Kovanel here would like to get himself a new name. Now, you have your stream content, just basically same idea as your YouTube, but it's good to keep yourself on different mediums. Now, what you're already doing here, and this is important, is you're starting to create content, which at that point, if we go back to this screen here, is all about consistency, and a bit on the memorable part. If you just put yourself in people's faces, they're going to remember you. But consistency is the first part to being memorable, and already just committing to having a plan of what you're going to do once you have this rebrand is super important. So we're already pretty into the steps, and again, we've missed about a week and a half of chatting between Kovanel and I. This is what we're trying to break down for you. So with his personality, he sat down and also did that. As I said, he had another brainstorm for that. And at the bottom, we had genuine, concise, critical, humble, calm, and thorough. And just by listening to his voice right now, you can tell he's a very calm and thorough person. Like, I mean, you look at, again, the brainstorming he did. Again, just the voice. He's a very relaxed person. And this has helped us narrow things down quite a bit. So let's talk, Kovanel, about originally the ideas you had. And this is where we want to hear you guys talk. Originally, you came to me with a name, and I almost shot it down instantly because of just my initial impression of it. So what was the first one you came to me with?
So at the start, I came to you with the word soul, S-O-U-L, and solar, S-O-L-A-R, with like soul being the one I liked more. So
our next steps. So initially, I just said I didn't like the way it sounded. That was just my initial response. So if you really want to think about it, he is evoking emotion, but is it the emotion that you want from people? Right off the bat. Words can have other implications besides their intended meaning. And to me, it was just soul felt, it didn't feel as unique. It didn't feel like something that I could pinpoint to one specific thing. Everyone has a soul. So the next steps were to look up soul and solar online. And this is what we're going to do now. So this is a really good process if anyone's looking for a brand and want to make sure, any kind of branding really, is to do your research. So we went online and we just started searching. So if I want to find a player, say there's a player, I don't know much about it, but like I've heard about him and I want to find stuff on him. I'm going to go to Google. My first thing is to go to Google, and we then search. So first off, let's just search soul. Okay, well that didn't do much for us. Let's search soul. I know his esports player, so let's just search soul esports. And then you start to find all the stuff that comes up. So right now, I can instantly say, so there's Team Soul Esports. You want to look into it. Are they active? Do they do anything? No, they have 9 followers. It's irrelevant. So Soul isn't used too much, but it's still bringing me up a bunch of stuff that has nothing really to do with what I want. So let's search Rocket League. If I can spell right. Thanks, Google. We have a lot of content just popped up now. A lot of content, which means soul is already a thing that's filled. But if you want to notice, a lot of it has to do with people just having soul in their videos. So it's a very commonly used name. So we decided, well, it's not unique. Soul isn't unique enough. We're not getting hit with something that is going to be remembered because it's easily lost in this mess of everything here. And that was it. So we started doing the same thing with solar. We started just looking around at solar and just seeing. So these are the steps you really want to take when you're looking at a brand, is to start looking around. And I think I made you do it today, Kovanel, with some other names you had, because I wanted you to go through the process. Did you do any more like researching for other names and stuff in the background while we weren't talking?
Yeah, but I didn't find anything I liked.
Cool. So once we went through these, there are a lot of different things you can do to kind of make it a name unique without even changing really the name of things. So an other option was soul. So let's with solar. What about start messing with things like this, and then it's Rocket League. So solar, kind of like that. So there are a lot of cool things you can start to do, but you have to go back to every single time these 4 points and your core values of who you are, and make sure it sticks with you. So solar felt a little off from the things you've given me. It doesn't really pinpoint, the genuine, concise, critical. It doesn't pinpoint those things too much for me. So we we jumped onto some new names. So you have a couple new ones here. Kovanel, do you want to let us know what those are?
Well, if you look at the top, the main name is Spirit, and the other things were just adjectives to describe the spirit.
Okay.
Because that's the name that I like the very most at the moment.
So what Kovanel just did there, and by the way, Atomic, that's who we're talking to right now, is Kovanel. Maybe someone else soon. We're trying to figure out another name, and we want to hear all your guys' inputs. Andy, someone says your name should be just Andy.
I think that's taken.
Welcome in, Gabri. But what was I saying? Okay, so we have Spirit, because Spirit kind of encompassed all the different what he wanted to do. You know, if you look at his personality traits at the bottom here, you're going to see that it falls in line with those. The next step is to Google it. Now, what he already started doing is trying to, if you want to make yourself unique, just make your name longer. That's easy to do. But you also want to make sure it's not too much. You want to make sure it's still rememberable. Findable Carpet did a really unique thing where he took something just so absurd, something that was just, it doesn't make sense. Why is it there? He ran with it. It was an Xbox generated name, and it works. If you Google Findable Carpet right now, you know what comes up? Nothing but Findable Carpet from Rocket League. Absolutely nothing but Findable Carpet. It's unique. He took something that never existed before. Super long name, really risky. And there's actually been some other people we've worked with that told him that it's a dumb name and he needs to change it for branding purposes. But he's sticking with it and it's working. We don't want to go to that extreme. We're not about to call you the overeating antelope. Kovanel. We want.
I like that.
Okay, well, maybe we're going with the overeating antelope. You heard it here, guys. Confirmed. First at the RL Dojo.
Please no.
Yeah. So Hawkshots is coming and saying your actual tag for Smash is Hawk, and other stuff is Hawkshots. Now the cool thing is I know him as Hawk. I know him as simply as Hawk, even though it goes Hawkshots on his stuff online. Subtle Rhombus. That's a good one, Andy. I like that. Oh, you've already taken it though. Let's stay away from the Xbox generated names and go back to something that relates to exactly what Kovanel is about, and that's right here on the screen. So you said Spirit. Spirit was the next one you want to take. Now Spirit already a pretty like generic word. But we don't see it. But it's double, and this is what I really like: double syllables. Instantly, you have more than soul. You have more than something that's just one syllable. Can you imagine if someone's just name was just food or car? Like it's unless it's funny, it's not going to be memorable, right? You're going to play those guys online, and that's going to be the end of it. There are some people I play online where it's like the Extraordinary Wizard, and like I remember those names because they're unique. I haven't seen those combination of words before, and it's out there. But so we want to look up Spirit. So if we do the same process, Spirit Rocket League. I want to find out what's going on here. So in your searchings, Kovanel, did you find anything that really would set Spirit as a bad Rocket League username?
The only thing that was a problem was people using the word Spirit in their titles. Mm-hmm. In the Rocket League content. Mm-hmm. But other than that, there weren't very many notable people named Spirit.
Mm-hmm. Now, well, the next thing to do is see if Rocket League Spirit, are they actually getting a lot of views? 8,000 views, decent amount on that top video there that has the Rocket League Spirit. In all honesty, you're probably going to surpass that when you start doing your videos. Like you'll start to populate this more. So there aren't any major orgs or anything that really is going to get in the way. The other thing to do is start looking up people in other esports. Is there a Spirit player in CS:GO? And you can start seeing if people already built a brand around this because it's something you can take. Looks like some random guy from Poland. Cool. Easy. We're taking that. No display picture. Doesn't have a real brand behind them. So Spirit seems to be something that we can move along with. Another one that you had was it was Essence, I believe.
Essence, yeah.
Essence is another one. Chat. Really, let's hear your inputs, guys. What do you guys think? Spirit is an airline. Andy, you are correct, but as a different thing. We're not really going for.
I'm not competing with an airline.
Yeah, there is flying involved in this game, but not to the same degree. Spirit, Essence, these are both things that you've landed on. I love that we're already hitting double syllables. Now, there's something you also started doing on the sheet, was you started to try to find things that could precede Spirit, something that you could have a brand behind. Sure Spirit, Solid Spirit, Sharp Spirit, Purpose Spirit. You try to find things that would help bring what the Spirit is about. In short form, people would call you Spirit. That's how you go. And Hawkshots just said the exact same thing. He goes by Hawk. People call him. Honestly, people drop the X in my name, but it's a part of my brand. They just say Leaf. I knew what they're talking about. People know who I'm talking about, or they're talking about. Is because, well, Leaf instantly off the bat is unique. We don't know anyone else with that. I don't know anyone really in Rocket League with the name Spirit, or Essence. I think both of those would be viable. Let's just jump out there and ask the chat right now. And if you're watching on YouTube, please leave in the comments. We're going to give this a few more days still. Nothing's going to come to conclusion now. Again, and this is why it's important. You want to make sure you have a few weeks, months even, to give yourself time to really think about this and land on something proper, because there's a good process behind it. Essence reminds you of Shoppers Drug Mart. We got another Canadian in here. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, well, there's the emotion evoked. And this is why it's important, asking other people. Because instantly, we just got someone's reaction, a straight-up thing. He just says it reminds you of Shoppers Drug Mart. That's the first thing that comes to mind when he hears that. The first thing that comes to my mind when I hear Spirit is the horse. And I keep seeing this logo with a beautiful mane coming off of it. And I mention it works because you're long hair, so...
I could do it. Sounds hilarious.
For anyone new joining in, just so you know what we're talking about, I'm here with Kovanel. This is the hashtag RL Dojo, the Rocket League Dojo. We talk about mechanics and mentalities every Friday, 5:30 on Tuesday. Completely wrong day. All my days are the same now. Without RLCS, they're all the same. Yeah, we're talking with Kovanel, and he's looking to do a complete rebrand of his name. He wants to just have a clean slate and be able to start everything fresh again. And coming into Season 3, this might be a perfect time to do it. So, we need your guys' help. We want to hear your opinions, guys. Let us know what you think. We're getting a lot of thoughts in now about Spirit. I want to hear, what do you guys think about Spirit? Does Spirit seem like something, do you guys hate it? You guys indifferent? Indifference is okay as well. Do you guys love it? If he were to just right now rebrand himself to just Spirit, nothing else, would you like it? Or do you think that he needs to have one of these names at the beginning? Something like, Sure Spirit, something like that, an adjective, something to further extend the brand to himself. Now, Kovan, I want to get your thoughts while they let us know. Double needs a rebrand, he ugly. Savage!
Needs to rebrand that neck, am I right?
Savage! Look at this, just shots everywhere. What does this stream become? But how do you feel about having an adjective before it? Any of these ones here don't really catch my eye. Is there anything you've thought of, previous to this podcast that you maybe want to bring up too that you think would be nice to fit before it? Kovanel.
No, these are just like the best sounding adjectives I found. Like I was just thinking, just splice the two together. Don't do anything fancy.
Synonyms, and that's actually something too. Go to a thesaurus. That is one of your biggest things. If you guys want to rebrand, you go to the thesaurus, start looking up bunch of different words. It's a great exercise too to just really get your mind moving. But I mean, here's the thing. So Gabri off the bat says, I prefer essence, but if it was spirit, I wouldn't add anything. JNap says, I think Weebinol fits him better. Wow, that's a lot of X's in CX Flame there.
Maybe you could consider a rebrand CXXXX Flame.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking a rebrand with a couple more X's in there is going to be needed. That's for sure. I mean, look at this. Honestly, a lot of people seem to be indifferent about it. No one's just like, ew, that's a gross name. What are you doing? Well, someone's going to now that I said that. But so already off the bat, we're getting input, and this is what I said. No input is still okay input. Basically, you want to take neutral and positive and post that as a total percentage against the negative. No one's really said, oh, this is dumb, this is stupid. So these are viable things. These are things you can go with now. And this is a good another test to get out there and publicly ask people, say to people, what do you think? And here's the thing. Now that we're out here and we're live on air trying to rebrand you, people know about it. People might think of something later on and come to you and say, hey, how about this? And I'm sure, would you be opposed to that if people just came and tried throwing suggestions?
Not at all.
Perfect. So if you guys have any, exactly, if you have any suggestions, get over to Kovanel and let them know. So Gabri mentioned not putting anything in front of the spirit. And he did like essence a little bit more. Let's ask why. Gabri, why did you prefer essence over spirit? Let's find a little more. What is going on?
They're trying to name me Paul.
Call Paul. Call Paul. Call Tall Paul. Ball call Tall Paul. If you put that all into one. Spirit God Xanadu. Xanadu, there we go. Let's do it. That's a good Rush song.
Luscious. Oh no.
Luscious spirit. I like that. You know what? If you just use Pantene every day and just make that hair bounce, you could get away with. Oh well, this still works. Fructus. There you go. The luscious spirit. You could get away with that. That's something you could pull off if you. Well, I mean, look at something that happened to Overzero. The hair, Rocket Jesus. That's something that other people just pulled out because of something he had, hair. Branding doesn't just sit to a name. It doesn't just sit to a personality. It sits to physical things as well. And we talked about it last week on episode 12. Is have you can have something, a gimmick. You can have something that that really makes you bigger. I mean, like, what's a good example here? I mean, belt buckle. Look at Wave Punk. Wave Punk just always rocked a belt buckle. Always right. Is just part of what he wanted to be. He rocked it. Eventually, people caught on, and now that's a thing for him. They love his belt buckle. Accidentally, Lawler pulled the TTT, and the chat pulled that one, and then he made it a thing. He brought it on. TTT became a thing of Lawler's. It became a brand associated to his brand now. And you can do that if you have anything about you. That's what I'm saying. Luscious spirit could work. I'm not going to recommend it, but if you wanted to go with it and you just every time just like made your hair fantastic, I think you could get away with it. What do you think, Cole?
The luscious part is a joke. Duble donated to AGDQ, got some guy to call my hair luscious. So that's where that comes from.
That's fantastic. I like it. And I do want to give a shout out to for all the new follows we have going on, Prosperity and the Atomic Madness class. Actually, just before that, you guys rock. And if you're just joining in again, we're trying to do our best to help rename Kovanel to Paul. That's what this podcast is now about.
Please no.
Maybe that's what you can do. Just do it, Paul. It's gonna be so absurd. Especially because like your name is nowhere near that.
So somebody already has that. Paul.
Oh no. Okay. Well, rip Paul. That was down the drain. Come on, chat. What kind of brainstorming is that? We need better help, guys. So in the last few days, is it so? Someone was saying Essence reminds them of the essence from Rune Essence. Sorry, from RuneScape. It does. One of the first things that came to my mind was that as well.
Really?
Yeah. Was
I never played much of that game.
No? Dude,
No.
I was a Rune Essence. That's all I did, man. I
was playing
worked the markets.
StarCraft, Brood War, and chess. Sorry for cutting you off.
Dan Sizzle comes back. I came back and I hear we're renaming Kovanel the Paul Wall. The tall Paul Wall hits the ball.
No.
That's awesome.
No.
So, well, here's the cool thing is we're actually getting a bit more. We're actually getting Imerish. That's kind of cool. Your name backwards.
Wait, what?
Imerish. I like it. My name backwards is terrible. It's Edorb.
Oh, you may. Okay, I get it. I'm a little slow. Okay.
Doing things backwards is pretty cool. It's rare that you'll get a good one. Yeah, I'm not doing the backwards club, guys. Elboot.
Join the backwards club.
Yo.
I'm already part of the backwards club. I want to get away from it.
Now it just looks like we're speaking different.
J Spank.
J Spank.
Dude, J-Nubs, you gotta get on that.
Oh, J Spank is the new. That's gonna be his RLCS. Oh, that's amazing. But yeah, so we're trying to avoid the backwards thing because it doesn't work with everything. Wait, what's spirit backwards? Tirrups. Tirrups.
Sounds like stirrups, like the horse Spirit.
It does. I wonder if that's where they got it from. Cool. Well, I mean, I think what we've done here is we've actually gotten a good bit of info and confidence, probably behind the name choice of Spirit. And now, do you having this chat kind of reinforce that? Do you feel like you still want to add a bit before it? You still going to test on that? What's going to be your process from here on out?
Well, I'm 100% just going to have Spirit in game. I'm not going to add anything other than that.
Mm-hmm.
But for, say, YouTube, I'd want to add something other than Spirit because I basically have to, since Spirit is 100% taken there.
Mm-hmm. Now, one thing is actually interesting to remember too is allowing nicknames for your. This is something we do as casters for your tag. A lot of times, let's see, Cronovi, we call him Crow. Double, I'd probably short form to Doobs. There's a lot of different things that will get short formed. Just because it's easier. On field, if I saw Rolo Johnson, I would just say Rolo. Nicknames are a cool thing. Spirit's a little difficult. I'm just going to call you Spur because it is a full word. Spirit would be the full thing. So just know that you're losing out on the ability for people to short form, for anyone to make it feel like a buddy name. You're stuck strictly with Spirit. So that is something also to keep in mind. Latch Cooks, good. A lot of good points there, Gabri. There's having the ability to have that short form kind of gives a bro effect to it. Like I feel like I'm friends with this person. I feel like Turtle, even Turt. That works. Spirit's a little more difficult to do with it. So that is something just to keep in mind. That you may lose the chance for that, but that's one small piece of everything. These, and again, there's so many different pieces, but that being able to short form adds to the evoke emotion part. you're evoking an emotion with someone that, hey, yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with Naps. Yeah, well, that works too. I mean, it's literally one letter you're taking off of it, but
Period.
you know, I can be like, yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with Crow. I'm gonna go hang out with Latch. Like, it adds that emotion effect. I'm attached to it now. Prit.
Spear.
Spurt. Spurt.
No. Don't do it.
But so Rolo Johnson, yes, if you're just joining in, Kovanel is looking to change his name. He's been wanting to rebrand for quite a bit of time now, and after watching last week's episode of branding, he felt like now was the time to do it. You do it now, or you don't do it ever. So this is we're thinking, just let's get into it. We want your guys' input. We want to feel it out. We're trying to work together on this. So one of the big ones that the two that we've really pulled out were Essence and Spirit, and these are the ones we're just trying to get input on. We've already gotten a good amount of feel from the crowd. So I just want to ask Kovanel, without dragging on too much longer, because this has been a good process to it. How do you feel now after this podcast? Do you feel like either Essence or Spirit is going to be able to fit into being unique, evoking emotion, be consistent, and be memorable? So let's step down to each. Are you confident at each level that's one of these names, even after being public about it now, will be able to fulfill each of those 4 points?
So to be unique, I think within the Rocket League community, I'll just be unique because I've changed my name and people know that. And also by the fact that, like, Spirit, there's nobody named Spirit. Evoking emotion, I think the content I provide would do that more so than my name. I don't think the name really does anything for people.
So what emotion are you trying to evoke from people with your content? What do you want people to feel when they watch the content?
Well, so the main goal of the content is just to help people improve at the game. Like, I just genuinely want people to get better at the game. I'm not quite sure what that evokes.
Now, so that's something you do want to look into. Will the emotion evoked from or taken away? And that comes down to how you handle yourself when you're streaming. You know, are you always going to be chill? What kind of music do you have in the background? And you want to make sure that you can be consistent with it and make sure that lines up with what Spirit is supposed to mean. So moving on.
The Spirit is supposed to more so reflect my personality of being calm and just calm, I guess. And then I was going to add an adjective beforehand to add the informative aspect to my name. So my name, like, matches my content, kind of.
Double just changed his name to Essence of Spirit, so
Well, damn.
Get wrecked. What about Spirit Essence or Essence Spirit? There you go. Just combine
Spirit
it.
Essence.
Spirit Essence.
I'm 100% sure that's in a video game somewhere. It has to be. There's something called Spirit Essence somewhere. There's no way it is.
Some Final Fantasy game. That's true. It definitely sounds sci-fi. So with the name, consistent. We talked about consistency, and that's going to be. I mean, we see in the chat someone saying, you know, Colonel. Okay.
Colonel. Oh, that's another story.
All right, I'll have to hear that in 1 second. But yeah, so you know, someone said, no matter what, JNF says, no matter what he changed his name to, I'll always still call him Kovanel. I think there was one player that did change earlier on, and now everyone calls him by the new name. But this is where your consistency is really going to have to play off. You know, you're not. It's almost hard to do the phase. So you mentioned to me you want to do like a fade of like moving into the Spirit name. And I think that's going to be very difficult. What was your plan to phase into it?
I was gonna well, I have to see if I can get a name change on Twitch. That's like the first thing I have to do. Ask if I can change my name to Spirit something. I was gonna do that after this just to see if people liked the name Spirit. And then after that, during the days up to the name change, I would change everything but my Twitch name to Spirit. And then I'd constantly inform people about the name change that is gonna go on.
And this is where your consistency comes through. You have to persist. At the beginning, it's going to be resistance. People can be like, no, Kovanel. It's going to happen. People will still just call you Kovanel. There will be resistance. It will happen. It's inevitable. And this is exactly why you decided to do it now, though, isn't it? Because before you hit the big stage.
Yeah. My thought process is if I'm going to be creating consistent YouTube content and if I have the potential to get into group stages of RLCS, I'm going to change my name before that because the fan base I have now is very, very small compared to what it can be if I'm consistently in the spotlight.
And, well, especially once you're going to be winning RLCS Season 3, right? You really want to have that brand set down, right?
If only JNaps was on my team, then I could do it. JNaps is going to win, guaranteed.
Cool. Well, so we're getting rid of Kovanel, so we'll just put JNaps on the team.
I'll just call my name. What is it? J Spank.
J Spanks. Oh, that's funny. And here's the thing, Dan Hizzle's saying, I like Kovanel more. The thing is, and this is still something that Kovanel you have to look at too, is people do have an attachment to the name already. But this is Kovanel's perspective. Not as many people know about him as they know about Kronovi, for instance. If Kronovi tried to change his name, well, that's just not happening. Kovanel just doesn't feel right to Kovanel. He's saying that it's something that he's wanted to change for a while and he's never been fully attached to it. And that's hard to really continue to push the brand of when it doesn't feel like it's you, when you don't feel like something is right. Like that's not me. I need to change that. And that's why we all pick our names. It's because we want to be something else. We want to go online, be able to have this personality, this brand. This is who we are. And if that brand isn't who you are, it's like, well, why are you even using that? It's let's try something else. And this is why Kovanel's looking for a new name, because he wants something to be able to go online and have that be him, but he wants it to be true to who he is. And especially getting into more public things. My brand and my personal life become very connected because I'm in the public. People see me. It's a little different if you were an infamous online player and just that's it. That's all you did is play online. People knew who you were, but there was no connection to who you actually were in real life. Then you can make it whatever. But you really want your brand to be true to who you are, especially if your personality is going to be shining through. Faking a personality isn't going to be fun. It's hard to do. I mean, I think I brought up a good example of that with Kanye West. Kanye West, I think, is a genius. You see him, like, people talk to him in like stores, and he's nice as hell. People love him. But when you see him on camera, he's always angry. There have been times when he's got caught smiling, and he'll notice he's on camera and stop smiling because he's got a brand to build. That's stressful. That's tough. And I got to commend the guy for putting himself through that. Either that or he's just psychotic. But I think he's a genius. That's hard to do. And why would you want to put yourself through that? So this is exactly why, and I think I nailed it on the head, Cove, of why you want to rebrand.
Yeah, that's true. The only reason I haven't changed my name is because I just haven't felt like doing it. Mm-hmm. There's no reason I'm attached to this at all. I don't even like the name. I'm just not doing it out of laziness.
So this is and this is why we've taken the initiative the past few weeks to rebrand it. And this is going to be a good case example for everyone in the community that maybe you didn't like it, but you just didn't have the I guess, the cojones to go out and switch it. So this will be a good case example. Once Kovanel finally lands on what he wants, and we're able to switch all that over, we'll see how it pans out. It won't be instant. People know who he is. It's going to take months to really make that transition where people feel natural calling you that. I think it's been about a year and a half now that you've been using Kovanel in Rocket League. That's a lot of time to get rid of. But you're right, you haven't had that same amount of exposure as someone like Cooksier or Kronovi. Can you imagine one of those two changing their name right now? That just wouldn't work. There would be protests.
They definitely lose like a lot of revenue and stuff. They could do it. It's not that smart to do, but they could if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what we'll say. And this is kind of cool, is because in the future, once our esports keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, people will know you as something else like Spirit or whatever you land on. But a lot of us will have that. Hey, that used to be the Cove. That was the Kovanel. And so it'll be kind of a cool story behind it as well. Remember back in the day when he was this. But you're right. The new people coming into it are going to see your content and see Spirit. And that's why I think a phase out really wouldn't make sense for the content. I think when you pick a name, you should strictly just say, all right, screw it, we're going in, everything's this, done.
Yeah, the phase out would be like a week, and then I'd start my new content after my Twitch name changes, just so everybody who knows Kovanel now knows I'm Spirit, and then I start my Spirit content. That was my thought process.
That makes sense. Just make sure there's no content with the Kovanel name attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
Spirit
and what
cake.
Rolo says, Spirit Cake. I could always just keep my Kova handle beforehand, like that. I don't see why I'd need to change that.
And that's almost a little like Easter egg for people that have been in the scene and do support you for a really long time as well, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the biggest thing. A lot of us, again, everyone in this chat knows Kovanel. We know that name, and we all like it. We have no problem with it. The issue is Kovanel himself doesn't like it, and that's the important thing, is you really have to stay true to your brand. But you also have to be aware to how people perceive the brand, because if it's a terrible brand, well, then it's not going to take off, and it really makes no difference what you did, right?
Yeah.
So that was the point of today's discussion, is to really talk about these points, making sure that you're confident in the names. We also wanted to get you guys in the chat, your perspectives on everything, and I think it's given Kovanel a good idea of what this part of the community at least sees about this rebrand. And it's those eye openers, and those are what you need to do. Anybody that rebranding, this is the perfect example. You want to start off with your brainstorming, and then once you do your brainstorming, you want to head over to just summarizing what is you about.
What is you about?
You don't think it be, but it do.
You're sounding Canadian right now.
I'm sounding like I don't know how to talk. And then what you want to do is your research. Start looking around. Are these brands things that are viable for me? Is it going to be too hard to populate the search engine? SEO, search engine optimization, is super critical when it comes to your brand. You want to make sure that when people search your brand, with the minimal amount of effort, they find you at the top. It's like the word Discord. Discord is a word. It's a word. It's a thing that means something. But when you search Discord, the first thing that comes up is Discord the app, because their search engine optimization, that has to do with their website as well, is really good. But I mean, they've built the brand to be something that people want to come up first. This makes sense for gamers. I'm sure the search looks different based on what I'm interested in, because I'm a gamer. It's the first thing that pops up, and that's important. The next step after that is asking people. Get out to people, people that you trust, people that you don't trust, people you like, people you hate. Ask everybody. It doesn't matter. You want as objective a view as possible, and I know Cove likes that. So you want to get out there and see what people think. People may absolutely hate it. People may love it. They may be indifferent to it. Just make sure that the indifference and the love is more than the hate. And that's what we tried to accomplish today. And then sit down and make sure that all together, this name, once overall, there's a lot of process to rebranding because you really have to make sure it works, is be unique, evoke emotion, be consistent, and be memorable. So those are the things that Kovanel is going through his head, what we've been working on the past week and a half. And we wanted to make it public, really just to see your guys' inputs. And with that, I think I've kind of covered a lot of the topics that I really want to get over. So I want to leave it to Kovanel. Is there anything else you'd really want to discuss or get from the chat? Because now's the time to do it. Or do you think you have enough information to move onwards now?
The only thing would be what adjective to put before spirit, but I could just ask people around instead of spend more time doing that.
So chat,
it's not really that important.
You have one final task. Hit us with adjectives that should go before spirit.
I guess it's important.
What kind of spirit is he gonna be?
Better than Leaf Doomble. That's what I like to hear.
Correct. Spiritanel. Spirit animal. Spirit anal. That doesn't work.
Yeah. That's why Rolo's my mod.
Rolo.
Red spirit, blue spirit, derpy spirit, sad spirit,
Dank spirit.
pissed spirit.
That doesn't fall in line with our thing at all.
I like the suggestion of sad from the sad customer.
well done, Sad. Sad was here last time asking about, or was during the branding thing, asking about their display picture. So I'm glad to see he's back. Steady spirit. If
you want to pull up that
I'm doing
picture
that right now.
It has all the things I came up with.
So here,
steady spirit. That's one of the words I was thinking of. I didn't write it down though.
Can I just make this size? Yeah. Cool. So here's some he came up with. Let's keep him coming though. Wild spirit. I like that one. I don't know if that's what you're going for though. You're going for a little more relaxed. So
I'm going for like relaxed, informative.
Here's his
fundamental
personality bits. Look at the bottom of the screen. You'll see his personality bits. Those are kind of what we want to get a feel for.
And then the words at the top are the words I came up with to be in front of spirit.
Penis spirit.
Spirit. Another thing I thought of was spirit animal. Just have like spirit duck or something, and have like spirit is my spirit duck be a meme. Like that.
The spirit duck. I mean, I'm okay with that.
Spirit, some sort of animal. Spirit hedgehog. Hedgehogs are my favorite animal.
That kind of works. Spirit hog.
Spirit hug.
Had to get hugged. It's Sanic.
Kovanel Hedge Spirit Hog. Wait, no. Jeremy Hedge Spirit Hog Smith. Yeah.
That works.
Aware like Spirit. Sonic Spirit.
Sanic. I'm gonna go to the spotlight here.
Supersonic Spirit. Supersonic is one of my least favorite moves in Pokemon. That would
alliteration, bitches.
Sound Spirit. I like that, but is sound what I'm going for?
Mm-hmm.
It works for sure.
Honestly, it works with saying it as a player works really, really well with your name. Jeremy Spirit Smith.
Yeah, the thing about sound that I dislike is it's not very unique. Like sound spirit, you hear people saying stuff like that in sentences.
Yeah, you're right, and that's you got to keep in mind. Our 4 points here for branding.
Mm-hmm. So the unique aspect is not present in that name, which is my only thing I dislike.
Mm-hmm. Supersonic. I like that one. It works well with. Honestly, that works really well with Rocket League.
Supersonic Spirit. That's actually yeah.
That's actually really good. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. The first thing I thought of was the Pokemon move Supersonic, which
Okay. That's
hate
true.
that move so much.
So that's cool, and that's why it's really important to get other perspectives, because like I didn't even think of that, but for you, you love Pokemon, so that's the thing that came to your mind. So it's how are other people going to perceive it? But Supersonic Spirit, honestly, sounds pretty legit to me.
That actually sounds really good for Rocket League. I might take that.
Who says sound, spirit, and sentences? Well, we are right now.
Oh my god, I'm so dumb. I didn't even relate Sonic to the Hedgehog.
Oh, that's why.
That's why. Yeah.
That's why we were saying it.
Okay, I get it.
You tool.
Don't mind me, I'm slow.
Oh, that's incredible. Kindred Spirit.
Kindred Spirit. Kindred's the league champion, right? That's what it reminds me of.
True. Sanic the Super Sanic Hedgehog. But Supersonic is pretty solid. Even just slowing it down to Sonic Spirit.
Slow Spirit. Oh no! Just because I'm a little slow.
Sloss Sprit.
Slossprit.
Slossprit.
I like the Supersonic. That one's really good.
Also, PS Distorted. Nice little silver sub badge there. Rollo with the bronze. Easy.
Oh, silver. That's sick.
I don't see any golds yet, though. I think
my sub badges, they go Prospect, Challenger, Elite, or like Prospect, Challenger, Blue Star, Purple. That's my.
Oh, true. See, I made my final one, my 2-year green, as my favorite color.
Yeah, once the season ends, though, mine doesn't make sense anymore.
No.
Well, yeah, it still does, right? But I need to add things in the middle.
That's true. Diamond. Cool. Silver Spirit. I like it though, and this is what good brainstorming does. I think that's one you need to mark down for sure. Supersonic Spirit.
Yeah, I'll do that. And then, yeah, with these adjectives I came up with, what they're trying to accomplish is the informative part of myself, but that doesn't really matter if you have something as good as Supersonic.
Exactly. It tells you all you need to know.
Silver Spirit. Again, that's like the non-unique vibe to it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, I think, again, I'm done on my points, and that was the last question you really had. If you guys have any questions you'd like to ask Kovanel, feel free to ask him now. But Kovanel, do you have anything else that you need from us?
No, I'm glad I asked for adjectives because Supersonic is really good.
Mm-hmm. And this is why it's super important. So what we've covered today is the importance of branching out. The whole point, and you know what? This is why Kronovi wasn't here. He knew that this would happen, and we would help Kovanel. What a swell guy. Good guy, Crow.
He's always 2 steps ahead.
That's what makes him so good.
My favorite Pokemon type is Steel. My favorite Pokemon is either Metagross or Aggron, both from Gen 3.
I'm lost, man. Past Gen 2 is like, I don't know.
Are you gonna call me Super now? No, you're gonna call me Sanic. Okay? You're calling me Sanic the Hedgehog.
Sanic.
You could also just call me Jeremy. You can go by my name. Play Pokemon Duel, dude. Random battle, 7th gen. Come at me.
I have no idea about Pokemons anymore, man. I'm just an old dude. So as these questions keep coming in, I do want to pretty much just I guess sign us off and let you guys know exactly what we discussed today. Just kind of recap. So we talked with Kovanel And he no longer wants the name, so we decided to go through a bit of rebranding. Going based off what we talked about last week, go check it out. It's on YouTube. It's not on YouTube yet. It will be on YouTube probably tonight. Go watch it. It's on Twitch right now. The branding episode is fantastic. We had someone that's been working in the industry for years, plus Lawler, and we discussed what our community needs when it comes to branding. Kovanel saw that and decided these are good points. Let's talk about rebranding. And so for the past week and a half, him and I have been working together to really try to narrow down what he should be rebranding to. And today was kind of a final step to really, not a final step, but a near-end step to branch out. One of the important things, we talked about a name and what points it really needs to hit. Be unique, evoke emotion, be consistent, be memorable. Sarah goes into more detail on that on episode 12, so make sure you go check that out. But those are the important things to keep in mind. You also want to keep true to yourself, and that was the big point of this. Then you want to branch out and just ask people, what do you think? And what's people thought is what we got today. And I'm glad we did it, because I think Kovanel has a little more of an open mind to it now that it's in the public. It's out there. People know it's coming. I think things are going to be a little bit easier and less scary for Kovanel to pull forward. So I'm glad we were able to get you on here today, Kovanel, to get that done. I know a lot of your stuff is going to change. So I was going to say, make sure you go follow him everywhere at Kovanel, but that is likely to change.
It won't change for a few days, to say the least. Like,
well,
nothing's going to change within the next week, I'm guessing.
Well, again, you want to really sit down now that you've had this final step here and say, okay, are we doing it? So it's really cool. You've heard it here first, guys. Exclusive. Kovanel looking for the name change. You might be seeing it as you see on screen right now, very shortly. But we will find out. So please stay tuned. Go follow him and see what he ends up doing at Kovanel, Kovanel, on Twitch. On Twitter. I'm assuming Twitch is likely the same.
Twitter and Twitch.
There you go. Make sure you go hit him up. And eventually when the YouTube comes out, you need to give that a follow too, because the content when he gets talking about stuff is fantastic. But I want to thank the chat. You guys have been fantastic today. Just helping us out and just going along. I mean, we're just talking about someone brand changing, and you guys have been here being in part of the conversation, and I love it. You guys are fantastic. Love to see those new sub badges out there. Sorry it took so long, but you guys are fantastic. Make sure you come back every week. Next week, as long as he doesn't need more groceries, we're going to have Kronovi on air with us to talk about movement, so you do not want to miss it. Next week, 5:30 Eastern. Episode 13 is going to be with Kronovi talking about movement, so please make sure you're around for that. It's going to be gangsta. You're going to learn a lot. That guy knows what he's talking about. I think he knows what he's talking about. Yeah, he knows what he's talking about. So you don't want to miss that. But today we had Kovanel. Looking forward to hearing exactly what you end up deciding on, Kovanel. I'm excited, and I think a lot of people are now really to see it. So I'm glad we created the site for it. Everybody, give your energy to Kovanel to make the right decision. And with that, I think I might end this off and just restart the stream as a game, because I got a new PC that I can do that on. Yeah! But for now, thank you guys so much for hanging out. We'll see you next time. And as always, keep gaming hard.